We were looking for a fixer-upper when we bought this house, and we were architects. It's kind of maybe a rite of passage to remodel your own house.
When we bought it, it was unique, and it was actually a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. So we knew, we were hoping to start a family at some point, that we wanted to add at least 1 bedroom. So there was kind of some functional, pragmatic things that we wanted to do. For a lot of people, the immediate response would be like, oh, well, we have to do an addition. But after kind of looking and thinking and looking and thinking, we realized, well, if we just kind of push this here and move that there.
It was really chopped up, and so we had to kind of reconfigure it without expanding the footprint. It was 750 square feet to begin with, and now it's 850 on the main floor. We enclosed the front porch and the back porch to gain a little bit of space. And then we converted part of the attic to a loft space. And then we also finished out the basement downstairs. So I think we're around 1,350 square feet right now, with 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a loft.
So we almost really doubled the size of the house without adding anything on.
Most of the design, I think, you'll see is in the main floor of the house, or what you would call a great room. We wanted to have one big open space, but we also didn't want to create kind of a bowling alley effect. So we played around with the ceiling finishes and textures and heights. We vaulted the ceiling over the kitchen to get some natural light in. And then in the living space, we exposed the original 1910 wood joists and cleaned them up and refinished them to create a little bit more intimate space.
So the challenge with creating this great room space is that you basically have to come up with one color palette for your entire house, because it just wouldn't look right if you had kind of one distinct look in the dining room and then one in the kitchen, but yet they're really part of the same space. And so what we chose to do was to focus on white, bright walls, the warmth of the wood, the dark floors throughout, and then to kind of define just a few colors that would really represent like our overall house. And so for us, it was kind of these sea blues and this aqua green and this mustard yellow, and really that just evolved from and being our favorite colors. But we use those colors in ways where down the road, if we were just like, oh God, like mustard yellow, we hate that now, that we could easily change it.
We design for livability and small space design, so every nook and cranny gets used. We don't waste any space. We try to keep hallways, stairs, circulation down to a minimum so the rest of the space is usable. One small space design we did in this house was to eliminate swing doors on the inside, just because we didn't have a lot of room in the house, so we opted for the sliding barn doors so that we could keep them open and closed without taking up kind of valuable floor space from door swings.
With having small children, I could make them breakfast and they can be eating breakfast in the morning, and I can be taking a shower and actually be able to just like kind of peek in on them, and it just makes the whole space a little bit more livable. There's definitely challenges that come with that too, with small living and even this kind of doors. You don't maybe have as much acoustic separation or isolation as would be desirable, but I think that's just one of the things that you just accept going into small living, and that it's okay.
Another small space design feature we did was our what we call our Fodenza. It serves as a guardrail for the stair, and it's also a bookshelf storage area for kids' toys, art stuff, crayons, books.
Our daughter's room, it's a very playful space. It's very fun. For us, because it's such a visible space in our house, it's really an extension of our living space. We wanted it to feel very, very cozy, very warm, but we didn't want it to be overly girly necessarily. So we chose this very deep, dark color that really contrasts with what's going on in the other rooms of the house. It had these very bright white walls. We were a little bit stumped at how we were going to fit 2 kids in there with the 2 big sliding barn doors. Really, we only have 3 walls to work with, and so that was a little challenging for furniture layout, but we made it work. I think the other favorite space is the kitchen. Like a lot of people's homes, it's really kind of the gathering space of the house. That's where everyone tends to end up. A lot of our meals we actually eat at our island versus our dining room table, even though it's 4 feet away. So one thing that's actually been really popular in house is our dogs' built-in dog bowls. When we were laying out our kitchen, we realized that we don't have actually any wall space available to even put 2 dog bowls. So the microwave is hidden in the side cabinet as part of our island. Below that, we made a custom cabinet with cutouts where you could drop 2 dog bowls into. Not only are they, a little bit out of sight, out of the way, they're a little bit more elevated for our large dog, which is nice. It wasn't a big expense or anything like that, but a small move that I guess had a big impact. Also, the big windows that we put in that connect to the backyard. A lot of evenings, Kyle will be out playing with the kids in the backyard, and I might be like prepping dinner or something. And that's really given us a sense of expanded living space, having that both that visual and physical connection to the outdoors. Just makes it feel bigger. It makes it feel like we have more options.
We do have pretty overcast, kind of gray days, and so it's important to get as much natural light as you can. So we have maybe a little bit more glazing than most homes. We also have our skylights in the kitchen and dining room. And the overhead light is a really different light quality. So during the daytime, we don't even have to turn on the lights inside our home unless we're working and we might have a task light. But other than that, it's all natural.
The loft actually was a space that we didn't, going into the main remodel of this house, we didn't know we were going to do. It actually wasn't until demolition. We were standing around with some of our friends and kind of looking at the space and started talking about, hey, like what would it be like if we actually carved out some of the attic space and used it? And so that's kind of where the idea of the loft was born. We get a lot of questions and feedback about the ladder. People want to know where they can buy it, and it is a totally custom thing that was designed specifically for our space. I like that, and it's one of those elements that's not only obviously a very functional thing, but it's also kind of the sculptural element in our house, and it's this nice focal point. And when people see it, they are like, oh, that's really cool, and then they look up and they're like, oh, and what's up there? And oh, you have this neat space up there. And it's been a little bit of a challenge keeping our kids off of it, but I know that once they're old enough, they're gonna love that space, and they're gonna make it theirs. During the course of the remodel, whenever we would do demolition, occasionally under the plaster walls, we would find kind of remnants of old wallpaper and things. And right before our first daughter was born, Kyle had actually commissioned one of our friends who does a lot of kind of paper collage artwork to create this art piece for the nursery. Bits and pieces of this like old wallpaper throughout the house and paint chips of all the paint colors that we use. And it's this kind of flower blossom, an abstract piece. For us, what it represents is kind of the old life and also the new life of the house. It's this really great piece of art, and it's also just this reminder of like the journey that our house has taken and what it's turned into.